Hello, welcome to How to Level Up Fast Hearthstone. I saw a lot of people enjoyed this last time, so I'm going to do it again. With the new season, there's a lot of epics you need to get, basically. If I'm going to, the first thing I'm going to say before I even go into the decks is, if you want to get epics, go for Ancient Curse, Augmented Elec, and Seathorium Bomber. They're the ones to get. I can tell you that for a fact. So that's just straight off the bat. I'm going to tell you that. Then we're going to go to the deck. So these are the decks that I've used. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some. These are decks I've literally used. So when we get to the higher ranks, this is what I've literally been using. So this deck I found is really good. I don't even know how I was looking at about 20 different decks and I eventually came up with this. I don't think it's one that you'll literally find. The reason this works well. The only change, by the way, could be one less security over one more dynamic. The reason I like it is because you can often get very good value out of like a card like that you wouldn't think is that good, but you've got so many ways of triggering the goblin bombs that it can really get that last bit of damage. I've always been a fan of this card, the Red Band Wasp. There's lots of things you could do. This can hold on till a little bit later in the game. And a lot of the time, if you play Frothing Berserker correctly, it can be very, very difficult. If this is on the board, you've got, even if they've got no minions and it's early in the game, you're going to be in a very good position to trigger it. One of the interesting things that I mentioned and why you might want to put Dynamatic is that because of the nature of the deck, it's obviously a combo rush mech deck, right? But let's look at that then. Actually, so we look at the rush minions. We've got 1, 2, which is obviously going to draw 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's not that many rush. I guess there's not many rush minions. But there's interesting things you could potentially do as well. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean something like this. It combos, even though there's not that many rush minions, this combos with the with rush minions potentially as well. For instance, if you've got all mechs, you can put this down and clear their board with this. Wargear is really good. I find this just works really well. Warpath is often what you're going to. I mean, think about this. This is literally like an amazing flame strike for 10 mana. When you think of it, it's a very good card. You can get very good battle rages to draw, because much of it, what's important now is to draw really hard. This card is amazing as well. Can give you tempo early on or extra cards later on. This card can win you a lot as well. Combo with the hero power from this. Lots of good stuff will happen. Really, really good deck though. This will get you much. This will really rank you up. I don't know why. I really don't know why at the moment. But anyway, what else can I show? I'm gonna try and show different stuff than I showed in the last video. This deck as well I found ranked. Is this the one? Yeah, it is. This deck is pretty awesome as well. Again, very much a cobbled together deck. It's a Spiteful Summoner deck. Even though this got nerfed from 6 to 7. I still think it's really good. I guess, funnily enough, the mage card Astromancer is actually similar to this now. But this is still better because with Astromancer, I mean, I guess if you're playing a control deck, the problem is I used to play a mage control deck, and it's not like, I don't know where I put Astromancer in there. I mean, it gives you some ball control. Maybe I could change it up. Maybe I'm the sort of person that could. Black Knight is often very underrated actually. A lot of people play Lich King. If you're playing Lich King, and that's you know, it's finished. Mossy Horror is a card also that's very important in terms of the current meta. You know, think about that. It's Giggling Inventor. It gets completely wrecked, right? But the whole lot gets destroyed. So this can be very, very useful. But yeah, I mean, like, it's a Killer Seth deck, so you obviously want to try and get that in hand at the beginning. And this is a thing which is fairly common as well. You want to have Stormwatcher for the Corpse Taker. Because you could have other, you know, for instance, I don't know. I mean, maybe some people think you put the Thrall, whatever it is, what's it called, the Thrall Farseer or whatever. You don't put that. This is a good card. If you get in trouble, I mean, think if you dynasize it. But yeah, obviously a lot can depend. If you only got 2/8. These are your only spells. That's why you're running this guy. But it's whatever. This guy can be useful as well. But yeah, if you can get a good Blood Knight at the beginning, it can completely change your game. So yeah, if you get a Blood Knight in hand, I would suggest holding on to an Argent Squire or Righteous Protector. And other than that, it's a fairly straightforward deck. But again, it can do very well. It can do very well. I've also got a wild deck as well. I wasn't to show. Let's think what else I've got to show. Yeah, I'm going to show my best decks, and then I'm going to show a little bit more experimental. I'll just show some experimental stuff. We'll see where I actually end it. I might just end it. If the video ends randomly, it's because I decided that whatever deck I was showing at that point, I didn't want to show it. Is this the one? Yes. So this is a wild deck. This is a lot of fun to play, this deck. The central idea of this deck, as with a lot of the deck nowadays, is to do OT, what they call OTK damage, which is a 1-turn kill damage. However, what you'll actually find is that doing that, so the perfect combo, right, if you're wondering how to do, the perfect combo in this deck is to do 48 damage in 1 turn. And the way to do that is you play Aviana, you play Kun, the Forgotten King, and that will get you 10 more crystals, right? And what you can do there is then you play Ragnaros, and then you'll play the cube on Ragnaros. Okay, so you'll have a cube with 2 Ragnaroses inside it. Then you'll use both Faceless Manipulators on that. So you have 3 cubes with 6 Ragnaroses inside it. Then you play the Deathwing, and that will destroy all the cubes and get you 6 Ragnaroses out, and you get 48 damage to the face, right? But the thing about this deck is don't even think like it's going to happen like that most of the time. It will. There will be sometimes it happens, but sometimes what you've got to do is just be more proactive with it. Because think about it, Aviana is obviously amazing, right? Killing the Forgotten King, obviously amazing. So I mean, each of these, I mean, if you think about it, like, you wouldn't want to do it, right? But it's almost like you could play this, and then with the cube, and to get Aviana, and then say you had I'm not saying this would happen, but then you had a spellstone with 6 on it. You could even use the coin to trigger that to get 2 Avianas, and then probably won't. If you've got 2 Avianas, it wouldn't go. But you see, not everything will go the way exactly how you want, right? Like, if they get a board and you've just got a load of these cards, loads of your lower cost cards, you know, it may be difficult to get out. One thing I will mention as well is that if you use Poison Seeds, that's another good way of triggering. It provides the sort of Deathwing effect as long as you've got space on the board. Oaken Summons obviously can get you Fandral out. Fandral into Nourish is very powerful. There's a lot of better cards now for the Druid that have come out, but I don't have them yet. But we'll see. A few more tips. Ultimate Infestation could be useful. Here's the thing, right? If you've got certain pieces of the puzzle, like what's the order of importance, right? For instance, if you can still do 32 damage with only 1 Faceless Manipulator, for instance, and not only that, but if you've got a very strong board and you're not playing Warlock, who's gonna play Twisting Nether, just having a very strong board might be enough, right? It might be enough just to have. You know, I've plenty of times had 6 of these guys out, just because I didn't have the cards. As long as they're strong board, you might not kill them one turn. You might have to wait for their turn, but you still win. So yeah, sometimes you want to play this, but you constantly. But here's the thing: the only way you can play this, right, is if you've got 5 cards in hand, right? Because then you do 4, then we'll go to 9, and the next turn you draw 10, right? But if you're near the end of the deck, it can be. Am I going to like? If you've got all the pieces, sometimes you may have to play a game where you say, am I going to draw this? Because you don't know if they're going to be fulfilling their combo or whatever, right? Let's see what else we got. So I think it's a bit of a mess at the moment. This is a deck I've been trying to play. Let me just talk about Mecha'thun. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure about this one. I don't have the cards yet either. I'm just building up towards getting a good Mecha'thun deck. Fortunately, I do have Mecha'thun, so that's going to make things interesting. I shouldn't necessarily have. I should have the real version of this deck has got a Solarium, which is a legendary, and a secondary rat in it, but I don't have them, so I just replaced them with Gnome Ferratu and Thalnos. This deck is pretty hard. I think it's difficult because maybe my rank is not high enough, but I have played some other. I'm trying to think what the other Mecha'thun deck I did play was. What was the other one I played? I have definitely won a few games with Mecha'thun in a different deck. But I'm trying to remember which deck that was. Oh yeah, it was a Druid, I think. Yeah, I played it with a Druid deck. Yeah, because then it's easier to naturalize it. If you play a Druid Mecha'thun, there's so many ways to do it. Let me just tell you first the different ways, and then we'll talk about this deck. With Druid, you can do Mecha'thun, Innovate, Naturalize. Right, that's a very easy win condition. There's also one with a Priest, where I believe you reduce the cost. A lot of them use a Galvanizer to reduce the cost of Mecha'thun, because obviously that's synergy. And then you play 2 ticking abominations. And there's also that card where I think maybe it's the Power Word Replica. It's like it's a card which text reads: Death Rattle minions cost 3 less, but die at the end of the turn. So that way you can get out all the different. By the way, Thurissan in Wild makes things a lot easier. I'm talking about standard decks here. But yeah, you play the one with the ticking bomb, and then this one, which is based on doing Bloodbloom Cataclysm. And now, to be honest, the Bloodbloom Cataclysm, the way this works, by the way, is you do Galvanize and then Thurissan on your Mecha'thun, right? And you want to get combos. There's a lot of damage. I feel like it's a little bit. Looking at this deck, I might change it. This is probably this is more in a state of flux. I feel like I'd probably do more, maybe Dark Pacts. There's not many minions though, but I'd probably do more health stuff. The draw is super hard on this. I can see. I know why this is. The thing is, it depends. One of the things you have to think about in Wild when leveling up, or in any mode, is that you have to play certain decks to level up. This is the deck that you play when you get there, but when you're leveling, you don't play this. But then again, it may change. But yeah, there's so many different ways. The best way, I literally tell you, the best. I already know what the best Mecha'thun deck is. And it's with Kangor's Endless Army. It's a Paladin deck. You play the Missile Launcher, 2 of them. Then you resurrect Equality, and then that's it. I can tell you for a fact that is the best Mecha'thun deck, because Paladin is very well suited to Mecha'thun decks. Anyway, but yeah, there's other decks that I could talk about that have sort of interested me at one point or another. What can we put here? This is the one, yeah. This is a deck as well, which I like. I've always liked this card, the Charles Devilsaur. I think it's interesting, some of these cards, like this is obviously super useful. The real advantage with this, you see, is you can get some really, really nice combos out of it. It's difficult in terms of... I mean, the ideal combo for this, I suppose, is going to be Farsight. Then you play Eureka, which gets you a Charged Devil Sword. And then you do 3... And then you could do 3 more Charged Devil Swords, and then you get 28 damage. But... difficult to pull off. It's based on getting the Farsight is good. It's just a shame you can't specify what card you get. You know, like discover. You know, if it was like discover a spell, make it cost 3 less. That's what I would probably want on that, to make it better. Whereas obviously, I don't know. This deck was okay. I'm just looking through some of the decks that I've got at the moment. Let's see what else I've made. May as well just look what I've made. This looks like a Void Ripper's pretty good. Yeah, I never found this is a fairly standard looking Greenskin's quite nice on it actually. This is actually better than most of the odd rogue decks I've seen. So yeah, you might want to try that one. This is a good deck. And what else are we running with? This is just literally just look at what decks I've got at this point. Yeah, actually, I really like this deck. This is a pretty strong deck as well. Ratcatcher, I'm pretty sure probably wasn't in there, but I kind of like it anyway. It just gives you a bit of rush potential. Obviously a very fast deck. Doubling ink combination is really cool. If you can get soul, think about that, soul infusion on that. You've already Keleseth it. It's a 5/5. It's 2 5/5s for 3 mana. Pretty amazing. This is a really good card. There's obviously synergy with the Fungal Enchanter and the Light Warden. Yeah. So the way you do it is, yeah. Well, I mean, it's obvious, I suppose. You can also use the Voodoo Doctor for that as well, if you want to get the not with the Happy Ghoul. Okay, so there's that, and a lot of these decks are good. It's hard to say, like I said, I'm kind of a little bit in flux at the moment. I was doing some fun stuff with Priest as well. What was I doing Priest? This looks a bit older, maybe. Oh, what did I put in here? This is an interesting deck. Yeah. I definitely must have seen a similarity between Xeric and then Fiola and Idis. Because they work similarly. Basically, this even though it doesn't say the same text, it's very similar. You can also put in the Vivid Nightmare in there as well. What was my other priest? Let's look at this one. Oh yeah, this one is pretty cool as well. This one's very hard to use. This is actually a really cool deck. There's barely any minions. It's surprisingly effective though. You need to do well with your Malagos though. And there's a lot of decks that are like this, where it's just like get loads of Malagoses and win. Not easy to play this deck, but a lot of it's fun though. Yeah, the Malagos. It's funny, like Malithus and Cthulhu and Mecha'thun, all sort of quite awkward to play. Which ones did I check? There was actually another rogue deck I think I had, so I checked that one. What did I have in standard rogue? This is literally just check all my decks. Yeah, oh yeah, this I didn't change. This is just a solid deck. Yeah, this is just a really good deck. This is what I used before the new expansion. Sometimes I just don't change it because I know it's good, and and sometimes I think, you know, if I have to, I'll just fall back on this. But yeah, that's pretty. I think that's pretty conclusive actually. Thanks for watching.